Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And today we're talking about artificial intelligence and hate speech. If you know, there has been a big push in the last couple of years to use artificial intelligence to basically find and scrub hate speech from major social media platforms. But this is definitely a work in progress. And I found a recent article really interesting because a new study about artificial intelligence shows that we definitely have a long way to go here. But before we get there, let's talk about this backstory, and this is coming from Wired. Now, last June, Antonio Radic, who is the host of a YouTube chess channel with more than 1 million subscribers, was live streaming an interview with Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura when the broadcast suddenly cut out. Now, his viewers were told that the video had been removed for, and I quote, harmful and dangerous content. Radic saw this message stating that the video, which included nothing more than a discussion about the King's Indian defense, had violated YouTube's community guidelines, and it remained offline for 24 hours. Now, YouTube declined to comment to Wired, except to say that beyond moving Radic's video, it was just simply a mistake on their end. But a new study, and this is what we're getting to, suggests that it reflects the shortcomings in AI programs designed to automatically detect things like hate speech, abuse, and misinformation online. Now, 2 researchers at Carnegie Mellon designed an experiment to look into what happened to this, basically this conversation on chess. And so what they did was they trained 2 versions of a language model called BERT, that's B-E-R-T, one using messages from basically a white supremacist website known as Stormfront, and the other one using data from Twitter, which I have to imagine would be slightly less aggravating. Now, they tested these algorithms on the text and comments from 8,818 chess videos and found the results to be less than perfect. Now, the algorithm flagged around 1% of the transcripts or comments as hate speech, but more than 80% of those flagged were false positives read in context. The language simply wasn't racist. And to quote basically their research paper, without a human in the loop, relying on off-the-shelf classifiers, predictions on chess discussions can be misleading. Now, the experiment basically exposed a real core issue for AI language programming. Now, detecting hate speech or abuse is more than just catching foul words or phrases. The same words can have vastly different meanings in different contexts, so algorithms must infer that meaning from a string of words. Now, obviously, as I mentioned before, big tech companies are very much relying on artificial intelligence to address hate speech online. For example, according to Wired in 2018, Mark Zuckerberg told Congress that AI would basically help Facebook quash hate speech. Earlier this month, Facebook also said that its AI algorithms had detected 97% of hate speech that the company removed in the last 3 months of 2020, and that is up from 24% in terms of accuracy in 2017. But what Facebook didn't say or disclose was the volume of hate speech that the algorithms missed, or how often the AI got it wrong. That's also one of the reasons why they have their new judge panel, their Supreme Court, if you will. Now, Wired went ahead and fed some of the comments gathered by the Carnegie Mellon researchers into 2 hate speech classifiers, one from Jigsaw, which is an Alphabet subsidiary focused on tackling misinformation and toxic content, and another one from Facebook. So some statements such as, at 143, if White King simply moves to G1, it's the end of the Blacks' attack, and White is only down a knight, right? That was judged to be 90% likely not to be hate speech. But if you hear this statement, White's attack on Black is brutal. White is stomping all over Black's defenses. The Black King is going to fall. That was judged more than 60% likely to be hate speech. And I think that really underscores the problem that we have here, especially when we're talking about both Google and Facebook's algorithms, which are vastly more complex than a simple AI test that 2 researchers at Carnegie Mellon did, is that we have a very serious problem with context, and we've seen a lot of cases like this before. Facebook recently had 5 cases go up against their new Supreme Court, 3 of which were basically dismissed, saying the post should be reinstated because the artificial intelligence simply missed the context of what this is. Understanding that as artificial intelligence improves, it's going to improve understanding human emotion, understanding context. But when we come to things like hate speech or even humor, oftentimes context is missed. Some comedians, for example, can get very brutal with their language because they are trying to make some humorous point or some, oh my God, societal point that is supposed to provoke maybe an uncomfortable laugh. But is that really hate speech when we know it's a comedian doing that? These are the things that we really need to talk about. Now, I have no doubt that the last thing people want to see in their life more than anything is racist speech and all these kinds of things. But we also are balancing the ability, to have free speech, even when we disagree with it, versus the ability, to be called out on that speech as well. Free speech is not free from consequence. And I think this is going to be interesting. So as we develop these artificial intelligences, I think we're going to see more problems like this, because a simple conversation on chess, obviously using terms like black and white, attack, defense, all these kinds of things are tripping up artificial intelligence. And I think it's really showing the flaws that we have in the system right now. We'll see where this goes. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.